Good everyone. This is Commissioner Harbage, and it looks like we are still waiting on a few commissioners before we can establish a quorum. So I will go ahead and give them a few more minutes. Just wanted to provide an update since it is 6 o'clock.
Chair Harbage, I just wanted to let you know, I know Kim Wilson will not be attending. He is on vacation.
Great, thank you.
Oh, and the new member, Alyssa Sorensen, she was unsure if she'd be able to make it or not.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, April. So to be clear, then it looks like we are waiting for Mark. Is that it?
I do believe we are waiting for Mark, and I think he is trying to log in.
Okay.
Is Mark SMA Architecture?
I'm not sure. This is Nicole. I'm here under Nicole Anderson.
I think we're waiting.
Mark, is that you? There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was having a hard time connecting audio.
No problem. Okay, well, it is 6:03, and this is the Helena Zoning Commission public hearing on Tuesday, September 14th. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. For the record, I do want to establish that we have a quorum present. Myself, Chair Harbage, as well as Nicole Anderson and Mark Opus, our other two commissioners who are with us tonight. Turn my camera on too. I see Sharon just did. Others are welcome to turn video on as well. I wonder if we should do a round of introductions just so we're aware of everyone who's on the call. Like I said, my name is Rebecca Harbage. I'm the chair of the Zoning Commission. And I think we'll go to Mark next, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Mark Opus, I'm on the Zoning Commission.
And Nicole?
Nicole Anderson, newly on the Zoning Commission. Happy to join.
Perfect. And welcome. Welcome very much. We're so grateful to have a new commissioner with us tonight. And then let's go to city staff. If you could just do a round of introductions, please. Let's start with Sharon.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My name is Sharon Haugen. I'm the Community Development Director for the City of Helena.
Good evening, and I'm Michael Alvarez, and I am a city planner with the Community Development Department. Nice to see you all.
I am April Sparks, and I am the administrative assistant for the Community Development Department.
Great, thank you. And now members of the public or representatives of the applicant.
Hello, my name is Warren Stone, and I'm with Oregon Trust.
I see. There you go. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Alice Santos, and I'm with KW Commercial Broker.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I figured out how to do it. This is Gary Burnham. I'm a landowner.
Great, thank you, and welcome. Thanks for joining us. It looks like we do have HCTV with us tonight as well. For those who are not familiar with the Zoning Commission, before we get started, I just wanted to let everyone know we do have a 5-member board. We recently got back up to 5 members, which is very exciting. And we require 3 members to be present in order to establish a quorum. These meetings are recorded and we do take minutes. For those of you who are new to this process, our meeting will follow an agenda, which you see on the screen, hopefully. Each of the proposals will be considered separately. Looks like we just have one on the agenda tonight. And with each one, we start with a staff presentation. The commission can questions of staff after that presentation. Next, the applicant or applicant's representative will have a chance to respond to questions or add any additional information that may be pertinent to the commission's review. Other individuals who are present and wishing to speak on the proposal are then offered an opportunity to provide comment to the commission, after which we'll close the public comment period on the proposal and the commission will discuss the request internally and complete our review with a formal motion, second, and vote. And just for the record, I know we all introduced ourselves, but when you do come forward to speak, if you could just please identify yourself by name and address prior to speaking, and that will help our HCTV folks be aware of who is presenting and who's speaking at each time. And then just remember to speak loudly and clearly as you go forward. It looks like we did have one more person join us, so I want to ask if the person identified as Wayne could please introduce yourself.
This is Wayne Beebe with Oregon Trust. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
We are just getting started. Having done introductions and a little bit of an intro on the Zoning Commission, I think we can go ahead and move into our public hearing tonight. We'll start with item number 1 on the agenda, and I believe that's you, Michael.
Thank you, Rebecca. And good evening, commissioners, members of the public, applicant, property owner. My name is Michael Alvarez, and I'm a city planner with the Community Development Department, as I said before. And tonight we're discussing the proposed rezone from the B2 district to the CLM district. And I should probably share my screen. There we go. Here we go. Everybody see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So overview of this, on August 6, 2021, the applicant applied to rezone from B2 to CLM, a property generally described as 43.5 acres located south of Canyon Ferry Road, west of Bompart Lane, east of the Siebel Soccer Complex, and north of the Irrigation Canal and Airport, as shown on the next slide. It's the area indicated with the arrow, the box, and in red. The proposed zone change is from the current zoning B2 General Commercial to CLM Commercial Light Manufacturing. The properties to the south, east, and west are zoned airport. To the northeast, B2, and northwest is outside the city limits. Staff review criteria are based around Montana MCA section 76.2-304, 1A and B, and 2A through E. Diving into 2A through E first, in the adoption of zoning regulations, the municipal body shall consider reasonable provision of adequate light and air, the effect on motorized and non-motorized transportation system, promotion of compatible urban growth, the character of the district and its peculiar suitability for particular uses, and conserving the value of buildings and encouraging the most appropriate use of land throughout the jurisdictional area. So I'm going to touch on each of these real briefly. For A, the MCA makes clear that a primary function of setbacks is the preservation of light and air. In comparing CLM and B2, CLM has an additional 15-foot front setback. It's also the maximum height requirement of buildings is 15 feet lower from 75 to 60 feet. For section B, CLM is generally considered a less intensive use than B2. We would expect a lower volume of motorized vehicles during peak hours in the morning and evening with a switch to CLM. We would expect more truck traffic from a CLM than a B2 during the middle of the day, but this property is located about 5,000 feet from an entrance to I-15, and there isn't a residential zoned area that truck traffic would pass by. There is not much in the way in this area for pedestrian or bicycle infrastructure. And by that, I mean, there's really nothing. C, D, and E, I'm going to sort of group together a little bit. Around the airport and on airport property, and then to the south of the airport property along Highway 12 is where the city is seeing its manufacturing and industrial developments. So that is in this area. And that is because it is compatible growth in that area, and its peculiar suitability in the sense that it has highway infrastructure, easy access to the highway, and it's not really disturbing residential populations with that quick access. As for conserving the value of buildings and encouraging the most appropriate use of land throughout the jurisdictional area, this is vacant land, and it's a fairly large section of vacant land. You look at it in context of the surrounding area and that compatible growth with the airport, and it should be right in line with other growth in the area to switch this from B2 to CLM. All right. Section 762304(1)A states that zoning regulations must be made in accordance with a growth policy. So the 2019 Helena Growth Policy Land Use Chapter and Future Land Use Map identifies this area as mixed use. Properties to the east and west are largely designated as mixed use, save for the Siebel Soccer Complex, which is designated open space. The airport lies to the south and beyond the irrigation canal. And the future land use map seeks commercial development to the northwest and mixed use development to the northeast. And that's shown here. So the light pink area is your mixed use. Airport is in blue and commercial use is in red. I'll give everybody a second to digest that. So when analyzing the growth policy, you need to think about the objectives that are laid out. I thought this change in zoning most squarely identifies with objective 78, which is to encourage infill development on vacant and underutilized land within the city, directing growth to areas currently served by or in close proximity to existing infrastructure, and that harmonizes with the character of existing neighborhoods. As well as objective 99, which is to promote the concentration of specialized industries within the city where specialized infrastructure, information, and labor advantages may promote economic development and desirable growth. CLM, located in manufacturing near the interstate exchanges, is certainly specialized infrastructure. We only have a couple of on-ramps, or a few on-ramps going through town. That goes along with developing vacant land and a sort of harmony of infrastructure in that area. One thing I will say is the objective 78 asks us to promote growth near existing infrastructure. And as I'll get to later, this property would need a lift station to be served by city sewer. So zoning compatibility, consideration of this proposed zone change should not only compare B2 and CLM, however, but also their compatibility with the airport district. A change from B2, which is defined as a district that provides for compatible residential uses and a broad range of commercial and service uses that serve large areas of the city and that are normally required to sustain a community, to a CLM, a district that provides for the community's commercial and light manufacturing needs. These uses generally need access to the city's transportation amenities and should be located to reduce adverse impacts upon residential neighborhoods in the city. Tract A, being located near the airport noise district means that there are restrictions on some of the development that would be allowed in B2, which is schools and multifamily residential housing intended primarily for the elderly. Neither B2 nor CLM allow for single or two dwelling units residences to be built unless there's a ground floor commercial use in their districts. B2 allows multiple dwelling units as standalone uses, while CLM would require a conditional use permit for multiple dwelling units. As I mentioned before, B2 allows for building heights of 75 feet, while CLM allows for 60. However, any building on this parcel will need to further be built in consideration of FAA guidelines on the heights of structures near an airport. Worth noting when considering B2, CLM, and airport, CLM has a compatibility with the airport allowing for light manufacturing uses, whereas B2 doesn't. So, and before I move on to the next section, I also want to just harp on back on that mixed use designation from the future land use map. Those areas are defined as shouldn't be restricted to just this parcel that we're thinking about the change in zone for. It's for the greater area. While mixed use designation typically is looking for a bit denser development, the lack of a plan from the city to right now to move infrastructure into the area doesn't necessarily promote denser development at this time. So section 76.2304(1)(b), zoning regulations must be designed to 1, secure safety from fire and other dangers, 2, promote public health, public safety, and the general welfare, and 3, facilitate the adequate provision of transportation, water, sewerage, schools, parks, and other public requirements. So all structures that are built here would need to adhere to applicable safety and fire codes. Comparing CLM to B2 in terms of fire and other, in terms of like fire danger, there is that additional 15 feet of setback. And it is generally considered a lower density use. So we would expect things to be more spread out. As for adequate provision of transportation, I've harped on a number of times the nearby interstate, but I should bring up again that there is a lack of city sewerage in this area and that need for a lift station in order for this area to be served by city sewer. So the planning staff recommendation is that staff recommends approval of an ordinance rezoning from B2 general commercial district to CLM commercial light manufacturing and amending the official zoning map for the city of Helena for property with a legal description of Tract A of the HRA minor subdivision, as shown on certificate of survey number 3034171, as more particularly described by book M30, page 3727, document number 3061035, Helena, Montana. And if you are, and that's going to do it for me.
Great, thank you for that presentation. Are there any questions from the commission for city staff?
I might have one. You mentioned it twice, Michael. The sewer is inadequate. It's essentially the depth. Has that been discussed, I guess, internally as something of significant concern, specifically with a steel truss manufacturing plant, or not?
No, so the applicant did come with a come in for a pre-application meeting, and we discussed it with them. The particular use, no, that is not a concern. Any development is going to face that same challenge there. And if anything, without a plan from the city to go out there and extending our own services at this time, not to say that there won't be one in the future, but without us moving in with a big infrastructure project, it's really hard to say that we would, this area is primed for sort of dense or any other development either. So, yeah.
I have one question about you mentioned that there's a requirement for a front setback for CLM that would not be required under B2. Is that
Correct?
required to be landscaped?
They do have landscape requirements. Sorry. All applicable city landscape requirements would apply, and I do this all day, and I don't know why off the tip of my tongue. I normally have the landscaping requirements for CLM ready to go.
No problem.
Rebecca, could you repeat the question for me?
Sure, yeah, Sharon, my question was just asking about the landscape requirements for the front setback.
Let me turn on my video. Generally speaking, our landscaping requirements is something that's not hardscape or building. It has to be landscaped. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, just to clarify then for the record and for the other folks on the call, that would be a 15-foot front setback landscaped.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for staff from the commission?
And
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
sorry, and I would just say, the landscaping requirements aren't necessarily different from B2 to CLM. So,
Okay. The difference is that there's a required setback.
the setback, yeah.
Right. Okay. Not seeing any further questions for staff from the commission. Would invite the applicant or applicant's representative to speak or present. This is not required, but you're certainly welcome to if you'd like to add anything. And again, please state your name and let us know who you're with when you speak. Would anyone like to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, this is Warren Stone on behalf of Oregon Trust.
Perfect. Go ahead, Warren.
Okay. So in regards, kind of going back in regards to the sewer, the lift station, we are a wooden truss manufacturer, and very little water would be going into the system. And so there wouldn't be a great burden overall there. The 15-foot setback won't be an issue. We'll be able to meet those requirements. We're looking at hiring about 200 people once this is fully up and running, and so a lot of jobs added. And what other points of topic? There was no restrictions that were brought up that should affect our ability to meet the plans that we have for the subject property. That's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And At this point, I'll open it up for the public. If there are any members of the public who would wish to provide comment on this application, please state your name and your address before you speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is Gary Burnham. I'm the landowner. So on 2205 York Road, I just was going to throw in my 2 cents. I think that CLM is much better than B2 because I just don't think that's a very good spot for residential. And most of my other offers on this property and stuff have been residential. So that's it. And you've got the commercial light manufacturing just across the way with Boeing and other stuff on the airport too. So it kind of matches right in. That's all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any other members of the public who wish to comment? All right, hearing none, I'll close the public comment portion of this hearing and ask the commission if they have any final questions or considerations.
I think the city commission always appreciates when we provide kind of our thoughts or comments and discussion along the way. So before any call for motion, I think I'll go ahead and just express that I generally agree with kind of what's been kind of described. I know I said structural steel, but a wood truss manufacturing plant seems to fit, seems to be compatible. I know I've expressed in the past my disdain for kind of spot zoning or island zoning, but this seems to kind of go against that. It already is kind of its own little island of B2, and CLM does actually seem quite fitting with the airport zone to the south, generally in the area. I guess that's kind of my view on this at the moment.
I can echo Mark's sentiment that this does seem appropriate. I think residential would be completely inappropriate for that site. I think we could all agree on that given its proximity. So again, look forward to a plan that offers that many more jobs and offering an opportunity for Helenans. So thank you.
Thank you both. And yes, I would agree that it seems quite appropriate for this spot. And I think it's pretty exciting to hear that Oregon Trust is interested in moving into Helena and offering that many jobs. So do want to recognize that. My one potential concern is just the location, wherever the location of an entry into the business might be placed, and the intersection with York Road there. I just know that sometimes driving on Custer and having York Road come in, I think that can be kind of a tricky intersection. So that's just one word of caution that I would throw out there. I don't think that changes how I feel about the proposal to change the zoning. Just the impacts from a B2 development there would also have the same concerns. And with that, I'll ask if there is a motion.
I will move to approve the ordinance rezoning from B2 General Commercial District to CLM Commercial Light Manufacturing and amending the official zoning map for the city of Helena for property legally described for a property with legal description of Tract A of the HRA minor subdivision as shown on certificate of survey number 3034171, as more particularly described by book M30 page 3727, document number 3061035.
I will second.
Great, thank you. It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I guess, is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds like the motion carries 3-0. And let's see, it looks like this will be heard by the City Commission on October 18th. Is that still the right date? Cool, Sharon?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming in and talking us through the proposal tonight. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda at this point. Is there any old business, new business, anything coming up for the zoning commission from city staff?
Madam Chairman, I believe it is, I'm trying to say August 4th, so maybe. You will be hearing for the pre-zoning for the West Side subdivision, so, or August 5th. So,
October 5th.
Excuse me, October 5th. So that will be a, Mr. Wilson is also recusing himself for that, but please expect that that may be a longer hearing and we will have quite a bit of audience in attendance, so.
Great. Thank you for the forewarning. Appreciate that. And will that be held on Zoom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Well, at this point, we've completed the hearing for the night. Is there any additional public comment that anyone wishes to share with the commission? Not seeing anyone making a move to take themselves off mute, so I will take that as a no. Again, thank you so much for everyone for coming out tonight, or not coming out. I guess you can participate in Zoom from the comfort of your home. Convenient. So thank you again. We really appreciate it and I hope everyone has a good night. That brings us to the end of our agenda and I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
And welcome again, Nicole.
Thanks.
Mm.